Okay, so I got cut off and have to start a new video for this, so I'm sorry. We're talking about the table and how we got 0 first, and then I said pi over 2 is another good value, and pi over 2 is another good value because, let's talk about it. So your first upward parabola is going to occur at 0. This is going to repeat every pi over 2 because this is the period. So at 0 you're at 2, at pi over 2 you're at 2. What's the next value where you're going to be at 2? It's going to be pi, because you keep going pi over 2. If you were to keep going, it'd be at 3 pi over 2 and then 2 pi, etc. So that's why at pi over 2 you're going to get the same y value as you do when you plug in pi over 2. So if you plug in pi over 2, 4 times pi over 2 is going to be 2 pi. The secant at 2 pi is going to be 1. So 2 times 1 is going to be 2. Okay, and really, I'm showing you here, this is your secant. Okay, so then this is going to be 2 times 1. So I think that's a little misleading. Good shot of my hand there. Okay, so you're going to do 2 times 1, because again, you're going to get 1 when you do the secant. And your final answer for that one will be 2. Okay, and again, you can also just do that based on the period. So we know that the downward parabola is going to occur at half of the period. So you can ask yourself, what is halfway between 0 and pi over 2? Really, you're just multiplying by 1/2. So pi over 2 times 1/2 is pi over 4. So for this graph, it's going to start at pi over 4, and that's going to be at -2, okay, because it starts at the negative value, and then it's going to open downward. And then this is going to repeat each period. So if you go pi over 2 from the pi over 4, that's where you're going to get your downward parabolas. Okay, so to recap, at 0, we plugged in our value and we saw that we got 2. So I'm going to plot my point at 0, 2. Okay, then from there, I know this is my parabola. It can't cross my asymptotes. Now I'm going to go by my period, and because my period for this is pi over 2, when I add pi over 2 to 0, I'm at pi over 2. So this is where my next value of 2 is going to be, and that will be my next parabola that's opening upward. If I add pi over 2 again, I get to pi. And so here I am. And then I can keep working this both ways. You can also count the units. So 1, 2, 3, 4 units. So 1, 2, 3, 4 units. 1, 2, 3, 4 units, and those are going to be your upward parabolas. Now you also just know that in between these is where the downward parabola is going to occur, but just to verify, you are going to start at the pi over 4, and then it will be down to -2. Okay, and then that's going to occur every 4 units as well, because 4 units in this graph is going to represent pi over 2, which is the period. Okay, so if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, it's also going to be wherever you already do not have an upward parabola in your column. There we are, and then again, just be careful that you don't cross your asymptotes. All right, and then this is going to be our graph. I want you to think about how many periods we actually graphed here. What do you think? Do you know? So remember, one period consists of one upward and one downward. So this would be 1 period, 2 period, 3, 4, and then we have an upward, but we don't have the downward. So it would be 4.5. All right, nice job. I'm sure you're anxious to start on your homework. So your homework in 5.4 is page 405, numbers 3 through 8, 11, 15, 24 through 34. And for this, I will give you some graph paper so you can use that for today. Or if you want to do it on your own graph paper, that is fine too. All right, I will see you guys tomorrow for 5.5. Bye.